welcome to another episode of the Sales Manager Academy podcast. As always, you guys know this is Omar, and we talk about leadership in the boutique retail world. We're talking about appliances, we're talking about AV, we're talking about electronic stores, wireless locations, furniture. We're talking about everything outside of big box retail, where you actually have clients you follow up with, you have projects you're working on, you do more than just be a generalist. You have to be specific, and you actually have to, if you're a great seller, articulate on what you actually offer and sell. And that's how you get to be top of the top. Now, as a leader, a lot of y'all have issues with retaining personnel. You have issues with training people, with being able to retain talent, especially in this day and age, because everybody looks at this role that you're hiring for, these retail sales associates, sales consultants, sales specialists, whatever you call them, okay? And you take it on as an entry level role. But you forget that it takes mastery to really be great at the craft. You're looking at this from an individual point of they've been here for a couple of months. They should be really great at this. Instead of looking at the realistic aspect of what you're offering and understanding that, hey, it's going to take time to truly master. Now, within a certain time frame, right? I've always judged by within 45 to 90 days, they should be, a certain percent good. And I would say at most of your locations, depending on what you're offering, we're looking at about like 60 to 80% proficient, right? And honestly, that 80% to 90% proficiency, I would put at that 1 year mark. And the reason is there's going to be a lot of things that they aren't going to run into at least a year. Okay. I've worked on projects where, I sold $5,000. I've worked on projects where I sold over $100,000. Okay. There is a difference in the level of competency that you need and the experience, because there's going to be a lot of things that pop up that you're not going to know that somebody else that's more experienced is going to run into, and they're going to have the understanding of what needs to go into it. So when you're expecting somebody who's brand new to come in and be able to handle $100,000 project within your organization, when they don't understand the processes, they don't understand the procedures that you have in place, they don't understand any of the SOPs, aren't familiar with them, and they get hung up on things, and you wonder why. Yeah, they can get it, but they end up losing those people, they end up losing those projects. And that's the reason why, because they're not being set up for success. You're grabbing them, bringing them on board and throwing them out there, and then wondering what the hell happened. I hired somebody who's supposed to be great on paper, but all of a sudden they can't produce, they can't perform, they can't close. And that's not the case. You can train pretty much anybody up. There's going to be a level that you need to make sure that they succeed within 45 to 90 days. And if they don't have that foundation, you're looking at the later part, right? Within about maybe 90 days, where they're going to be, oh shit, your eyes are going to open. And I'll tell you this from experience. If I hire somebody, especially like say in the wireless or AV, electronics, appliance world, if they have some background in that space, I guarantee you within 30 to 45 days, they're going to be amazing. When I say amazing, I'm talking about they're 70 to 80% proficient. Once again, I expect there to be hurdles, because there's going to be differences within the organizations that they're moving from and going to that are going to throw, bumps and curves at them. And they have to be able to work through that. So that's where you can't say, okay, it's going to be, unless you're going to be holding their hand for that entire process, which you, of course, know that's not going to happen. You have to be realistic about what your expectations are as a leader and understand what to expect and what they should expect from you. Because as soon as you hire them, a lot of the mistakes I see is people coming on board, and it turns from, okay, these were the expectations, right, from us to you of what we're going to offer you. Now, here you go, figure it out. And then you wonder why they fucking leave within 3 months, right? Majority of them leave within the first 30 days because the fuck did I just sign up for? You know what? There's another position I was offered somewhere else, making maybe about the same or making less, but it's less of a fucking headache. Maybe it's a little bit closer, whatever the case is. And they jump, okay? And a lot of y'all complain about like Gen Z, right? Ghosting, stuff like that. Understand that that is not the case. That is happening because there are issues within the training of what you're offering or lack of. So people don't understand what the expectations are. They don't understand what to truly do. You throw something out there and you're like, okay, figure it out. But you forget what it's like for somebody who is new because they don't know what they don't know, right? And that's an important thing. You have to, as a leader, have that mindset with your people that there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to know because I understand it. I've been doing it for such a long time that they're not going to run to you. They're not going to understand. They're not going to know off the top of their head. So let me break it down a little bit more. Let me truly make it simple for them, right? So that they understand this. And then we can move forward after I understand that they can do this. And that's what you have to go into that expectation. You have to remember what it's like to be new in that role. It doesn't matter the experience that they have going into this. Your organization is new to them. Unless they're a boomerang employee who's coming back and you're rehiring them, there's got to be a level of understanding that, okay, yes, they have the experience that we're looking for, but I still need to train this person up a little bit so that they actually have the foundation, they have that footing within the organization so that they can be successful. When you throw them out there and expect them to be on their own island, and unless you're giving them a very large runway, right? We're talking about a year to 2 years to really get set up and with the right support, right? Not from you, but the right support on the back end that can assist them, then yeah, they'll probably be successful. But when they got no runway and they're expected to perform from day one with no training, no understanding of the back, right, the back end processes, any of the procedures, you're setting them up for failure. You're setting them up to constantly have a revolving door. And then you end up getting a bad reputation when it comes to hiring people. Most of your people that are on board, okay, they're like, okay, I can slack off because I'm one of the people that knows what I'm doing, right? And at least I'm performing in their eyes. But you don't understand that, hey, there's an issue here and we're losing a lot when we could be making more. I had a location I had taken over in one of my markets and a little bit of trash I had to throw there. This location had been a great location for the company I was with. They were producing, and this is in the wildest world, right? They're producing about 400 units, 3 to 400 units on average every single month, right? Holiday seasons, they would go up to like between 5 to 700 units that they would push out of this location. And everybody thought that was, the most that location could do. And I came in and I started paying attention. I started noticing there's just no true leadership helping train and focus their efforts, right? And my thing going in was I told them straight out, my goal is for you to be able to make the most amount of money with the least amount of work. And for some reason, that just blew their mind. Like, what do you mean as a leader, you want me to make more and work less? I was like, yes, I want you to become very good at what you're doing. I want you to become super proficient, where all this is super easy and it isn't difficult. And you end up making more and it feels like you're working less. And you honestly are because you're having to really not have to put out as much effort because it is all now secondhand nature. You understand this. You're flowing in this art. Okay. That location within, I would call it a short period of time, right? Around 6 months or so, went from producing on average 3 to 400 units to producing on average 6 to about 700 units. Okay. Almost doubling what they were doing before on a consistent basis outside of Q4, outside of that holiday season. And it wasn't like, okay, they did it for like a couple of months. No, they were consistently hitting it day in, day out, month over month over month. Okay. When you really focus on coaching, when you really focus on training and development, that's what you end up having. You end up being able to increase performance so dramatically. And it's not that it increases performance dramatically, is that you're helping them really understand what they're doing and you're helping them build up those skills, right? And that's the biggest and most important thing. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of y'all take a lot of these sales positions and expect them to be more of an entry level role instead of understanding, no, this is truly a professional level, right? That we want them to perform it and they can make good money in a lot of these organizations, right? I've known AV salesmen. And I've been one of them, okay? I've known furniture salesmen. I've known appliance salespeople. I've known wireless salespeople that make healthy six-figure incomes as a sales individual, right? And not we're not talking about B2B. A lot of these are, consumer level. And that's what you need to understand. When you have that set up and you understand that, hey, let me treat this more like a professional position and truly offer training, development, mentorship, guidance, you start to see the level of performance that can actually come out of these locations. You start going from, man, we're barely scraping by, to we're doubling year over year numbers. And guys, I get it. We're going into a very rough patch, right? 2026, 2027, it's going to feel like that. Because remember, I've talked about this before. When it comes to recession, we're going to have that crash. And then, right, it's about like a 6-month period when that crash happens. We're not going to level up after that 6-month period. It's going to take years for us to be able to get back to the point where we're at before. That's how traditionally these things work out. And during that point, okay, it's not like everything crashes. There's still opportunity there, but we have to be a lot more nuanced. We have to take our time. We need to stop treating these sales positions as entry level positions where, oh, it doesn't involve any kind of skill. No, it fucking does involve a lot of fucking skill. I am not going to bring somebody on board who doesn't have the soft skills to be able to talk to people and have conversations if I expect them to sell to people, right? I have to have some kind of level of competency in that skill set to be able to come on board. And we can develop that skill from there. And that skill is going to take mastery and time, just like everything else. Okay. That's the important thing that you need to understand as a leader, that it is going to take time. It's going to take mastery. The amount of time depends on how much effort you're willing to give your people on your side. At first, it's going to feel like I'm doing a lot of work. And yes, because you are. But once you've set it up, once you've developed it, okay, or better yet, take something that's already been proven and utilize it. You don't need to redo the entire thing. You just need to start somewhere focused to be able to move forward so that you can give your people that launching pad to truly become who they can be within the organization, where they can actually perform, where they can actually make that income that they're looking to make. And you would be surprised, okay? Once they start to see it, they start to do it. We've talked about this before. Motivation does not come before productivity, before production. You produce first. And as you produce, you become more motivated to continue doing what's getting results. When you do it the other way around and you focus on just motivating people, you're not giving them anything. You're not giving them training. You're not giving them development. You're not giving them anything for them to become motivated by. They might feel good in the moment, but they're not seeing results from that feeling good. Okay? That's the issue. But when you're focusing on training and development, they don't feel good about it at first. But then they see, hey, this worked. Hey, this worked again. Let me keep doing it because it's easier. Let me keep doing it because I'm getting the results from this without having to do as much work and I'm making more from it. Boom. Then the motivation kicks in. Just like when you go to the gym. You don't pump yourself up and get super excited and then, just do one exercise or that's it and expect to see amazing results. It's going to take time. But you see the results because you keep continuing to work out. You continue to go to the gym, even when you don't see the results at first. And then little by little, over time, you start to see those results. It's the exact same thing when we're talking about developing our people. You guys are expecting these people to come on board from day one, and automatically you expect to see results from them. Instead of understanding and taking that gym concept and know that, okay, the work now has begun. It's not, all right, great, it's over. We've hired somebody. I'm done. No. It's great. We finally got somebody on board. Now the work actually begins. Now let me train and develop this individual to become proficient in what we're doing here so that they understand what our mission is. They understand what we believe in, what we stand for, okay? So that we can continue to move forward. what I expect from them and what I want them to expect from me, right? I want them to know that, hey, they can reach out to me and ask questions. I want them to know if they don't know what to do, to, try things, to ask questions and move forward. But the one thing I will not do is allow them to just stop, right? And not ask questions, not try to move forward. We're here to find solutions, right? I don't care that there's a shitload of problems. I want us to think about the solutions. Don't focus on the problems. Focus on finding the solutions to the problem. We'll acknowledge the issue, yeah, but let's focus on what we can do. And you'd be surprised how focusing on that mindset helps your team to see a lot more opportunity, because they might see somebody coming in. Oh, they already got their AV set up. They don't need anything. But they haven't asked the questions and then realize, oh shit, this customer really doesn't like it, or the speakers are blown, right? They don't have the right setup. They're not getting right the proper experience from the home theater, or they're not getting the proper aesthetics that they want, or the level of performance from their cooktop, or their grill, whatever the case is. Or maybe they're not getting that great night's rest because yeah, they just bought this mattress 6 months ago, a year ago, but it's not what they need, right? That's where you start to see things. They came in for something else. They start getting asked more questions, and we're finding solutions to things that we didn't even know was an issue that the customer wants solved. That's the biggest thing. And for a lot of y'all thinking that, okay, yes, we shop online, but the one thing that we can't do online that's been very, very difficult for people is being able to ask questions and get experiences back. And you might say, well, yeah, there's AI. I will tell you something. I AI has been around for a very long time, but it is still not going to replace people. What people are realizing right now is that yes, it is good to automate the mundane things that are going to be the same task over and over and over again. It's rudimentary. That doesn't have to be creative, doesn't have to think, right? It's got a process, boom, boom, and that's that. But when it comes to situations where it has to truly get somewhat creative, where it has to really be able to maybe think abstractly, right? And understand, okay, that's where it has issues. And the other thing, when a customer is talking to an AI solutionist or an AI solution based system, an LLM in that case, they don't know what questions to ask. And the things with a lot of the LLMs, especially the ones that are used in businesses, it's supposed to be a straight pipeline, right? So if it doesn't go in that straight uh, question series, it's going to get thrown off. Okay. Well, I don't know. Let me bring somebody on board that can help answer that question. So if your solution is, hey, I'm just always going to lean on AI, AI is good to automate the mundane. When it comes to people and the true selling portion of it, that's where we want to still have people in the mix to be able to ask the questions, to think outside. And you can't just stick anybody in that role. You have to train them for that role. And you have to go into that as a leader, as part of your mindset, that when I bring somebody on board, I need to train and develop them. I can't just expect them to come on board from day one and know everything, right? There's different levels, and we have to start treating our salespeople as the professionals that they are, because it really truly is a profession to be in sales. And it doesn't matter what level of sales, what your organization is, okay? Sales takes mastery. You have the foundations, but then you also have to have the product knowledge. You have to understand how things work together, right? A lot of different products can be plug and play, but in the wrong situations, a lot of those plug and play solutions are going to fail. But when you understand the concepts behind it, right, on the technical side, then you're like, okay, this is going to be a better aspect of things. That's what people don't truly realize sometimes. They think, okay, well, the sales part is going to be the same. Yes. People don't get hung up on the sales part. People get hung up on not being able to have the fucking solutions to be able to offer, right? Or know how things can mix. And that's where it becomes different. When you're in an organization where your person is the beginning and the end, right? From the start of the sale to post install or post delivery, They have to know that. Okay? They have to be all of that. And for a lot of the small organizations, you're not doing that. You're expecting to have the sales part, but you're not offering the part that's actually going to be the close. And that's where things get difficult. For other organizations where the seller is the person that makes the contact and they have a person on the back end, right? Yes, the seller still needs to know a foundational aspect of things, because when they're having those conversations with the people that are going to make the decisions, if they can't answer some of the more basic questions, I got no trust to want to talk to the people that actually knows this shit, right? That's where things start to get hung up. So understand, if you're an owner, if you're an operator, okay, owner operator, if you're a regional, if you're a district area manager, if you're a multi, it doesn't matter what level of leadership you are, you have to understand the basics, okay, that your people need to be trained and developed in order for them to be successful. And you can't expect them to come in from day one unless they already have a pipeline of customers that were ready to buy and they were just waiting for them to go into another organization, right? Which you guys know that's not how this works. It takes time for them to be able to understand your organization, right? The procedures, the SOPs that you guys have in place, because that's going to be where the hiccup is going to be. And a lot of these, okay, where you, oh, I got somebody great, but they fell flat on their face because it's the SOP portion, it's a procedures portion that's giving the hang up, okay, most of the time, especially when they come from the same industry. So focus on the training, focus on developing, making sure that within the first 45, 90 days, you have a way to properly bring them aboard where they can be at least 60 to 80% competent. You have no idea how big of an increase in productivity just being 60% competent is going to be. And with time, they will get 80 to 90, close to 100% competent. I never say everybody's 100% competent in what they're doing, because there's always going to be situations where you have to bring other people on board to be able to solve the issue. But man, once they get above 80% competency level, it'll blow your mind at how well your locations can do. But remember, it takes time to master these skills. These skills take time to master. So, if anything, take that away from today's conversation. Guys, as always, I want to say thank you once again for taking time to join us here at Sales Manager Academy podcast. Don't forget, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, right? Trying to grow this, trying to get this to as many people out. So if you know any leaders that are struggling, if you know salespeople that are wanting to move into that role of leadership, they don't know how to differentiate themselves, send them, right? Send them this information, send them the video, send them the podcast channel, send them the socials, and let's get going. So guys, I want to say once again, thanks for joining me. I'll catch you on the next one.